A session dominated by Australia.
Yes.
For once we can say that. 21 for no loss, India were resuming at. But Gary, Nathan Lyon, 4 wickets ripping through the top order. KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, Shreyas Iyer and Cheteshwar Pujara, unfortunately his 100th test fell for 0. Some very, very mixed and very poor reviews from Australia and India at lunch. On day 2 are 88 for 4, Virat Kohli and Ravindra Jadeja at the crease. Virat Kohli looking assured, Jadeja looking confident. So we are joined by Nikhil, and Nikhil, first time, if you may say, in this Border Gavaskar Trophy that Australia have dominated a session.
That's true, and I would love to know from you, Siddharth. You were very bullish about India's chances yesterday.
Exactly.
This is all India's game, but I think I warned you that the 260 something that that Australia got is going to be dangerous because I'll tell you why, and I think all of us got fooled by the fact that India got 400 in the previous Test match, and because of that, when Australia got 263, we thought, oh, it's below par. It's about 130, 140 runs below par, and which is why most people, including yourself, would have picked India to have taken a 100, 150 run lead. But I think the whole thing, we forget that Australia won the toss, got the best conditions last time, and had a disastrous first innings. They could have done better. They were in a position that they could have done better, but they could not finish it off. So, I mean, once you knew, at that time, if you remember in Nagpur, we kept saying that, hey, listen, if Australia got 275 in the first inning, game would have been on because India had to bat last. Hey, this time they got that almost, 275. So you knew, one, that there was going to be pressure. Two, that India, and this has been India's problem, and I don't think any of us expected any better, that apart from Rohit Sharma, your top order and in your middle order has not been firing. It did not fire last time. I think it was your lower order, the likes of Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, that saved the day. That might just be the case once again. In fact, it will have to be a case for India to survive in this Test match, because if they don't come to a party, then it's all downhill for them. Because if you end up giving a lead to Australia, no matter how bad they play in the second innings, you're going to be batting fourth, and anything over 100 is going to be dangerous on the track. So all that said, I mean, once again, you're going to look up to Jadeja to step up. You're going to look up to Akshar Patel to step up. I know I'm not taking Virat Kohli's name because you expect him to get runs, but even if he's in good form, which he's looking right now, he would still need one of the Jadejas or the Akshar Patels to be around, to hang around with him, or even a Ravichandran Ashwin to hang around with him so that he can get a good total on board. So at the moment, I think this is a very crucial partnership, because if they get another breakthrough, then India is gone. So overall, now, I mean, I was saying 50-50 yesterday at the end of day's play. Now it's clearly in Australia's favor. They're sitting in the driver's seat. They can call all the shot as of now, all pressure on India, and a big partnership coming up between, it has to be for India and Jadeja and Virat Kohli. And why? It gives me kind of confidence, because both of them have looked good. Like if you take a look at Jadeja, maybe a few deliveries here which took the edge, but then he played it with such soft hands that you really wouldn't count that as a catch. So he's looking good, and that these are the conditions, the spinning conditions that really work for him. But what I'm most impressed about is Virat Kohli. I mean, he's clearly made some sort of change to his game, and one thing you can make out, that it was outside the off-stump area that sometimes troubled him. Either it would take his edge, or if he's trying to cover that edge area, then that one that would come in would get to his stump. So he was confused a bit outside that off-stump area, even to the spinners. He found that out. Now, what I see is that he's really covering that off-stump and not trying to play anything to the offside, but trying to play everything towards the onside. And so he's going extra towards that off stump and trying to play everything under his eye. The typical technical thing they say, under the eye, so that he plays everything to the onside, whereby he's also covering that edge that he doesn't get, and also that ball that might just come in. So he's playing that way, and I think this is something that he's clearly worked on. Looking very good. I mean, he's looking comfortable against spin so far. Looking very assured. Of course, this is his home ground, so that also helps boost your confidence. So crucial partnership then coming for India.
Absolutely. And just a word on Nathan Lyon. Before this series, really, all eyes had been on him, that he'd of course be the main man for Australia, lead spinner. At a disappointing time in the first Test. This time around, though, he's really shown 4 wickets, and he's absolutely looked like the person to torment India the most when getting his line and length right, getting that movement well. So I think how key is he going to be now, considering the fact that, of course, he's been getting those wickets and the pitch is actually getting better and better to bowl on for the spinners.
I don't know about you guys, but I got trolled a lot on social media after, if you remember, before the series started, we were all talking about Nathan Lyon versus Ravichandran Ashwin. And, I had made a comment that, and I think people didn't really get that right. I made a comment saying that, if you ask me Indian conditions, I'm going to pick Ravichandran Ashwin any day. But if you ask overall conditions, globally on good batting tracks, I might just go with Nathan Lyon. And then, a lot of people threw a lot of stats about Ashwin doing better than Nathan Lyon in Australia as well. And they said, hey, you're undermining your own bowler. But I'm just saying, we're so temporary with our opinion. One test match happens, Nathan Lyon doesn't do well and Ashwin does well, that we completely, want opinions to change. But it doesn't work like that. Right. When you talk about a Nathan Lyon, you're talking about, self-proclaimed, all right, but you're still talking about a GOAT, right? I mean, his numbers show that he's done very well. And you knew that sooner or later he's going to come good, because if you were talking about selection also, if you remember, we kept saying that, hey, listen, if they want to get some variety and put him in, will they have to drop a off-spinner, because they've now got someone like a Todd Murphy who picked up a lot of wickets, and you might get Travis Head who might offer another bit of off-spin. So do you really need to go with Nathan Lyon? And at that time, I was aghast that people were even thinking of dropping someone like Nathan Lyon. Someone has experience basis on that one thing. What has really worked, and I'm going back to that point for Nathan Lyon. I mean, he's been outstanding. He's continued with that round the stump line. So that plan continued taking forward from what happened in Nagpur. So didn't change that, despite the fact that he didn't get too many wickets there. So continues with that plan. But what I think is working in Nathan Lyon's favor, and we said that earlier, is that Nagpur pitch had low bounce. I think that was something that doesn't suit Nathan Lyon so much. With now, a spinning track offering a bit more bounce, I think that is working in Nathan Lyon's favor, and is doing what. But blame also to Indian batsmen. I think. I don't know how you guys saw it, but how I see it is like a lot of time they're just putting that front foot forward, just prodding it forward, and it's not really with an effort to take your front foot to the pitch of the ball. That's not happening. I mean, why would you like? I'm trying to think of an old batsman. Let's say a Mohammad Azharuddin. You would know that if he would put that front foot forward, it wasn't just because he wants to play that ball on the front foot. It was actually to get to the pitch of the ball, no matter how much he extends his front foot. So the whole idea is to get to the pitch ball. Now here it is that they made up their mind that, listen, going back might be dangerous. We get caught. So let's play on the front foot. So you've decided to play on the front foot, but the basis of playing on the front foot is to get to the pitch. That's not happening. So you're just prodding your front foot out, and the ball is pitching well in front of that, and that's where you're getting caught. So if you remember, the bat is also behind the pad, as we saw in a couple of occasions there. So that is happening. So I think that there is technique that has to be questioned. We spoke about Indian batsmen being a bit susceptible in front of spin before the series, but then they had an outstanding sort of innings in Nagpur, and then everyone forgot about it. But now it's coming to light again. May not be the best players of spin, and especially if it offers a bit of bounce, a bit trueness to the wicket. So that's how I saw the Indian batsmen. So as well as Nathan Lyon has bowled, I think the Indian batsmen also were found wanting. I mean, look at Cheteshwar Pujara. It was a very close shout in that first one. He could have been out there.
Yes,
they didn't take a review because they'd wasted 2 reviews before that. But went for the other one. So he was out twice actually. In the period of 7-10 balls, how much ever he faced.
Yeah, I mean, Pujara looked very, very fidgety. Yeah. And what do you count? Was it a technical deficiency that got rid of Rohit Sharma? Was it Cheteshwar Pujara's nervousness? And what about, we'll come to KL Rahul a bit later. But then Shreyas Iyer undone by a superb catch from Peter Hanscom. I mean, I remember he had taken a similar catch in 2016 of Asad Shafiq when Lyon himself was bowling in Melbourne. But was Rohit Sharma, was it a misjudgment? For KL Rahul, was it poor technique? And Cheteshwar Pujara also poor technique?
Yes, both for KL and Cheteshwar, I think it holds true what I was talking about, actually putting the front foot forward without much purpose to it. You're just putting it there. And for Cheteshwar, it happened twice, as I said. The earlier one also, maybe you thought that he learned his lesson there, that, let's not be tentative, let's not. I think because I think it danced down a bit on that and that first appeal. So I think the only reason Australia didn't take the review, they thought that maybe that 2 meter thing is out of and the impact is there. So they didn't go for it, but it wasn't actually eventually. But again, that front foot came just for the heck of it that I'm playing it on the front foot, but not really reaching the pitch of the ball, which Rohit Sharma, by the way, does well. So talking about Rohit Sharma, I think it was just that lapse of concentration, that one ball that he played badly, because otherwise he was looking fantastic, whether it was yesterday or today, and he's one of the very few players who actually has a meaningful front foot stride, so he knows exactly when he's playing front foot, when he's playing back foot. But I think that one ball, just a bit of lapse of concentration, and I was just telling myself at that time that look at Rohit Sharma. Here's a man who's so aggressive in white ball cricket, so used to taking the attack. Look at the kind of changes that he's had to make to his mindset and his approach and all of that. And I was like, wow, look how Rohit is transformed himself. I was thinking that to myself, and there you go, that lapse of concentration happens and he gets out. Yeah, so I mean, those are the things. But speaking about KL Rahul. I don't know. I think now he will get another chance because of the way India's innings has panned out. There's no way that India is only batting once now in this test match. So that's the only positive for him. But considering that the pitch is going to get worse in the fourth innings, and considering it's going to be tougher to bat on, you really don't think a big score is going to come from any batsman. Not KL Rahul for sure, looking at the confidence that he's in, but it could just be then the last test match you're seeing him play. I don't say for the career, because you never know. I mean, their comebacks have happened, greater comebacks have happened. I mean, Cheteshwar Pujara is another example who we thought was done, but then came back. So okay, good. But I think for the interim, he is going to get another knock, we know for sure. If he gets runs there, even if he gets a gritty half century in tough situation, that will save his spot in the team, provided India is in a tough situation. But apart from that, then if I see a Shubman Gill sitting out, I see him sitting in the dressing room there, and I look at him and I feel it's unfair that he's having to sit out and KL is playing. So then he may not be playing the next test match.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of spell reminds me of Nathan Lyon 10 years ago at the same venue. Round the wicket, getting the ball to straighten, hitting the right lengths, and basically he had batsmen either LBW or caught.
Right.
So Lyon is wheeling away in a very similar fashion in that sense. He's also been helped by the fact that Kuhnemann and Murphy at the other end have bottled the runs up. They have kind of dried the runs up.
Correct.
26 overs, 67 for 4. That was how, and looking at it, how much? Just about 2.4 per over.
And that's where we come back to a comment made by one of our family members. Palash Swami says that India is surely going to miss Pant today. I mean, you could have really done with someone of his counter nature on this sort of
Exactly. Yes. Rishabh
Yeah,
Pant.
Good call by Palash Swami. I think Rishabh Pant, we mentioned it before the series started that you'd miss someone like a Rishabh Pant. These are the typical situations that he would usually come out to bat on, and he would change. And maybe that papered over the weaknesses that India had at that time. The middle order really not firing, or sometimes the top order, at least one of the openers not really doing well for India. But he would come and save the day. But that's not going to happen now with no Rishabh Pant. The other thing I think, which has, you're going to look at the whole test match and saying what's changed the complexion of the game. I think one thing which has added potency to Australia's bowling attack is Kuhnemann.
Yes.
He may not have picked up a wicket, but just bringing a left arm spinner, which they were lacking in that test match, suddenly you bring in, and there's pressure from both sides. So I think that itself has added teeth to their bowling attack, and which is why India are there, and then Nathan Lyon reaping all the rewards from the other side.
Yep. And if we have to look at it, Australia's problem of decision review system. I mean, they got one spot on.
Yeah.
Cheteshwar Pujara.
but
But apart from that, three. Rohit, KL
and the
and
Pujara
Shreyas.
first one.
And Pujara first one also. And even Shreyas are here.
Yeah.
Why do you think Australia, is it like there is a problem that persists with Australia in the decision review system? They're not good takers of the DRS. Why do you think that is happening, Nikhil, so frequently with an Australian team? Is it indecision?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I think a keeper plays a very important role, and I think the keeper has not been up to task. I think because I remember
Alex
was
Carey
that
in Nagpur
decision
was
before.
very good.
Sorry, what did you say? Alex
He
Carey
had
in
said
Nagpur?
he had praised Alex Carey for his keeping and DRS review systems in Nagpur.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but if you see this time, I think that KL Rahul review, he was wanting them to take it, and what didn't help matters is that the captain was bowling. And if the captain is bowling and he's the decision maker and he's bowling, he thinks about it, and then that could be the problem. Luckily, again, I'm all for bowlers becoming captains, and I've said it earlier. But the problem is, more often than not, if you're a bowler, you're always convinced that that is out, right? It happens with any bowler. Now the problem is, in Australia's case. In other cases, because the bowler is not the captain, so the captain then can be a bit more judicious. He can think, no, maybe the bowler is extra excited. He'll consult the keeper and then try and get a balanced sort of a view, and then you go for DRS. In Australia's case, because the captain is also the bowler, and if he's convinced, then he doesn't really need to ask anyone. Maybe that's where Carey has to come in. Maybe he steps in, but he kind of nodded and allowed Cummins to go for that review. So I think he lost the review there. So maybe that's one reason why they aren't doing well. Maybe had there been a batsman captain and he's not bowling himself, so then you have a bit of a neutral sort of a view on that whole situation, and maybe you don't take a review here or there.
Maybe now, see, this second session will be vital in the course of this test match, but actually, if you have to look at it, India's real batting and Australia's real problem begins now. Why I say that?
The lower order.
Yes. Australia, when they have come to India in the past, they have struggled to blast the tail out.
And India's more consistent batters in recent times has been the middle and lower middle
especially
order.
Ashwin, Jadeja, of course, Akshar. Well, Akshar, just that one game in the previous
but then again, he has actually in recent times worked on his batting a lot, to the point that he's become a very reliable, handy batsman in the lower order.
And looking at it, Jadeja at home, out of the last 5 innings, he's hit 450s.
Exactly.
So that is why I think, can Australia blast the tail out very cheaply this time, or do you see them struggle, like how the game drifted away from them in Nagpur? Nikhil?
By the way, I think they will. Australia's bowling better. They could trouble the Indian tail, but I think I have a lot of faith in the Indian tail in terms of Ravindra Jadeja, Ashwin, and Akshar Patel. I mean, they are, I think, they may be bowlers, all right. You can call them bowling all-rounders, but all-rounders nonetheless. So I think I have a lot of faith, and especially in these conditions, home conditions, all the more in Jadeja, Ashwin and Akshar. So I think that they will give you resistance there. But having said that, they've also got some established batsmen out much cheaply. So there is, Australia won't doubt themselves getting these guys out as well. And as I said, because they're still bowling all-rounders, even though they've been good, law of averages also takes a look, right? They bailed you out in the earlier test match. Can they keep doing it every innings? No. Eventually, your top order, middle order has to put their hands up and be counted, right? So, whatever they give you is kind of a bonus. Let's be honest. So, it's not that Australia will not feel confident that we can't get them out. Of course, they will be. But, the one good thing is, and we spoke so much about those two deliveries, you remember the penultimate ball and the last ball. What is good is, and I said it last evening also, that I don't think that players need to think about it, because those balls may not happen again and again on day two. So, and it's not happened so far. So you haven't had a ball like that, at least in the first session. So may still happen towards the last session, but at least you've got good batting conditions. Apart from that, you've got to, of course, be technically adept to make use of those batting conditions, but the batting conditions still are good. None of those balls, that are going, which we call surra deliveries or anything like that. So that's not happened. So that gives me hope that the tail might just stand up and they're capable enough to do it in this situation. But also then another piece of my brain tells me that, hey, law of averages, how many times will they keep getting you runs? Their runs are always bonus, that extra added gift that you get. Can't happen. Eventually the top order, middle orders has to do the job.
Exactly. So we can take some comments. Ankit Kumar is very, very confident. India will score 400 plus. It is time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you call me optimistic and bullish.
And he says that it's the same story for the top order since a long time, but Jadeja, Ashwin and Akshar have stepped up to the plate many a time.
True. I agree. And that's why I said that I have a lot of faith in them. I have a lot of confidence in them. But I'm just saying, every time they can't, right? I mean, so I hope it is. But then if you're going to keep living on this prayer that, hey, the Jadeja will get us runs, Akshar will get us run, and below, you can't keep functioning like that, right? As a test team, if you want to be a strong test team.
Yep. Okay, just go up a bit, Anurag, if you can. Just go up a bit. Yeah. Again. Okay, Meet Soni is like saying, Rahul's been given a long rope. Same was the case with Virat before this year. No doubt, Virat's a legend of the game. But if you're going by form to pick players, he must have also been dropped. Okay, I don't agree with the Virat factor. But KL Rahul, I mean, Nikhil had pointed out that Shubman Gill, perhaps there's a week's gap for the third test. So I don't know what will be the thing of the players and the selection, whatever happens. Will they persist with the same team? I think it will depend upon this result. If India unfortunately loses it, then there might be changes.
Yes. And don't forget, they will most likely bat another innings, because it doesn't seem like this is going to be an innings win if it has to be.
No. Not at all. It's not going to be an innings win at all. And Palash Swami is like saying, it's now time for India to enter the cheat code lower middle. And yes, Palash,
I think that's the optimism everyone has at this point from the lower middle order.
Yeah, I mean, see, because they were in a very precarious position even in Nagpur. But Akshar, Jadeja, those two combined scored almost half of the runs to ensure that they got to 400. So that is why it is going to be a very, very problematic situation. India need to look for runs.
For KL,
yeah.
For KL Rahul, I mean, I said it earlier also. Yes, there's going to be another inning. So, just to be fair to the guy, that there's no point us commenting now whether he stays or not, because we don't know what, there's definitely that India going to bat second time for sure. So we don't know what he does there. But as I said, that because it's going to be the last inning, you can't expect best conditions to bat on. So, I mean, if you were going to look at the probability scenario, it's probably the worst time, or the probability of him getting a big score is very, very low, because of the fact that you'll be batting in tough conditions. Secondly, if you're not in great form, then it's even more tougher to bat in those conditions, or mentally just apply yourself. So those things are telling you that there's a good chance that he's probably not going to get run. Unless, I'm saying, in a situation like that, even if not big runs, I mean, because the least you expect for him to save his spot is get 100. But I'm saying in a tougher situation, even if you're chasing like 150 out of a 50 run in tough situation, then that will go a long way, and at least giving him another 2 test matches versus Australia. So it will all rely on that innings. But having said all that, looking at the signs, looking at the way, if he's not getting you runs in better condition, there's less chance of him getting there. And if let's say he doesn't get you runs in the second innings, then I think it will only be fair to make changes. I agree with Siddharth what he's saying, that maybe the decision or the result of the test match is going to matter a lot, because if you win, then you sometimes don't make changes and everything is happy because you're 2-0 up in the series and you don't want to fix anything that's broken. But I think even then, if you've given him enough chances, and we were all, if you remember, we were all in favor of giving him another chance. He said, okay, fine. He's done some good work. He was being looked as a captain. You need to allow him to get those chances. But at one point that you will reach that threshold, right? Where you have to say, no, this is it. When does that happen? Whether it happens after 2 matches, 4 matches, when does that happen? That decision needs to be taken. And I think it's only fair that 2 test matches was a good enough time for him to get a score of note. If he's not been able to do it, then you have to give Shubman. Especially if India lose, then I think that decision would be made easier anyway. Yeah,
just go up a bit, Anurag. There is a comment from Akash Bharadwaj that I want to take. Just 1 minute. He had given a very... Nikhil, now about this, looking at the pitch situation, it's about the approach. He's saying that India need to look for runs, because if we go defensive, it will be difficult. But will it be very easy to attack and be, because it's a catch-22. How aggressive can you be and how defensive can you be? What is your take on this?
I know it's a tough question, but my point is, I'm not. So again, as I say, it's not about the pace of run that is, I think, something that I look at. Because each batsman has his own style. If Cheteshwar Pujara has a style that works for him, so be it. If Kohli has a style. So I was just looking at Virat Kohli. I mean, he can really turn on the screws on the opposition if he wants, even in a test match. He can really bat aggressively, but right now he's biding his time. Maybe that's something that he's thought of. He wants to spend time, get used to the conditions, and once he starts playing. Rohit Sharma is one who plays natural game, even got that sweep going. But as I said, that one lapse of concentration loses his wicket. So I think to each his own is better. But what I would want from a batsman is not so much about being aggressive or being defensive. It should be about being aggressive in your approach, even if that is a defense, as I said. Even if you're defending on your back foot, front foot, do it aggressively, as in with full heart and full mind. That okay, I'm dancing down, so I'm dancing down. If you're half-heartedly doing something, then you're neither here nor there. So even if you're defending, you're convinced, like Virat is right now, like he was defending, but I'm saying that's aggressively defending because he knows exactly what he wants to do, and he's doing that. So long as you're doing proactively whatever you've come and thought of, your plan is that you have to cover your off stump as Virat is doing. I'm just taking that example, and I have to defend it outside the off stump, and you do it proactively, then that's great. If you're prodding, tentative, like Steve Smith was, whether you're defending or getting, that's a problem. I think what suits Virat Kohli, if I was to take his example, I think this is his perfect sort of bread and butter, that he'll take his time, get used to the conditions. Once he knows the turn and the bounce and which bowler is doing what, once he's figured that out, then slowly he gets into his groove, and then he's very tough to stop. I'm guessing he's only at the moment thinking, okay, let me spend that half an hour that I need to get used to the condition of the bowler. Once I go past it, so he's right now just thinking of that threshold. Let me just cross that. He's that sort of a player. Jadeja also, similar. I think Jadeja will play his shots, but he can also bide his time. So I think, and so for Akshar and Ashwin. So I think each of them will take their approach, but I don't think you should really decide that, like Alex Carey, that I have to come and be aggressive. No, I like the Hanscom approach.
Yeah.
He played to his strengths and aggressively defensive. That sort of an approach is the perfect one, a good balance.
Yeah, so okay, very, very naughty comment. Finally after lunch from Meet Soni saying, finally after lunch, Jadeja will play the first ball, not Virat Kohli. You remember what happened in Nagpur?
Last time, yeah.
Yes, first ball strangled down the leg side, got Todd Murphy. Mm-hmm. So luckily this time Jadeja will be playing, but Kohli looks assured.
That's been the great positive. So
and what a way he can overcome the rut in front of his home fans on his home ground. All the debate then on lack of bad form, lack of this thing will all come to an end because he would have at least ensured that the damage is not that big. Even if India have to concede a lead, if Virat hits a 50 or hopefully 100, then the damage will be very limited.
Correct.
What has happened. So that is why it will be a very, very important knock for Virat Kohli in front of his home.
Yes, if he can get that knock, I think there'll be no questions asked for the long time.
Yes, but Vivek, oh boy, he's like saying, mark it down. Vivek is saying, mark it down. Smith's 100 loading in the third innings.
If he can get 100 in the third innings, this pitch.
It's very similar to the Pune Test match. I think that 2017, where Australia got 260 something.
Yes.
I think first innings, right?
Yep.
And then Smith got 100 second innings.
No, he got 100 in the first innings.
Yeah, it was the first innings.
First innings,
yes.
Yeah, 261 they got, if I'm not
mistaken.
Yeah,
and India, I think Steve O'Keefe took 6 for 35 in both innings. Yeah,
both innings, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a left-arm spinner now, but he's not got. It's Nathan Lyon who's got all the wickets. So.
Oh no, you're right. Smith was dismissed for 27 in the first innings. Then he hit 100 in the second innings. You're right.
Exactly. That's what I said. So I'm saying, because you mentioned about Smith getting 100 in the second innings, so I was like pretty much on the same track. They got 260 odd in the first innings, and then Smith gets 100 on a turner of a pitch in Pune.
Yeah.
And this will become like that by the time they come out in second innings. So yeah, I mean it's kind of building up to Pune 2017, huh? Yeah, but let the result not be that.
But anyways, Smith doesn't need to show. He's played tough knocks in all the conditions that you look at it. Be it England, be it in India, where he's dominated India in the past. But now, with Ashwin on top form, I mean, he's gotten him out seven times, most by a spinner. Joint most with Yasir Shah, though. It's like, if he can overcome the Ashwin nightmare at this point in time, then I think he can get that 100. First, he has to overcome that. And his general problem against spin has been highlighted, because in the last 3 years, he's averaged only 36 against spin. So that is a kind of kryptonite that we are seeing in Smith's batting, unfortunately, at this point in time. Left armers got him out, leg spinner got him out, off spinners have gotten him out the most. So, let's hope that it happens for Steve Smith fans, but for India, if
you'd be hoping that doesn't really
it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Janaki Raman is saying, guys, today it's Virat Kohli day and his zone and also his favorite opponent, fingers crossed.
Obviously, there's a lot of optimism that Kohli can do well, and when Kohli does well, India generally tend to do well. So, yeah, fingers crossed that does in fact happen.
Okay, but GGK is saying, and Aditya Kavlekar summed it up, I'll come to GGK's comment. He's become slow like Pujara. Too defensive will cost him today. Was he too defensive?
No, I thought he was playing to the situation.
No, I don't think so. Virat was playing according to the situation. He looked assured in defense.
Yeah.
And Aditya Kavlekar wants, will the real Virat Kohli please stand up? Otherwise, you're going to have a problem here.
When he says real Virat Kohli, I think he means the one who will get a big knock. To be fair, there have been signs of that today, but again, let's see. Because otherwise, Kohli's form in Test hasn't really taken the kind of upturn that is wide.
Yeah, unfortunately, 26 in the last 2-3 years. That's the problem. But he was slow and defensive.
No, I disagree with that.
Nikhil, you thought he was defensive? I thought he batted to the situation.
He was no. I'm saying defensive in the sense, yeah, he was. I know what you're saying, that he was taking his time. I mean, he played a lot of defensive strokes, wasn't really looking to hit boundaries as such. And at one point, I was thinking that because of the way wickets were falling, even I had that thought, listen, Kohli, just get going, because you never know, you get that ball with your name written on it. So I did think also in similar lines when I was watching him bat. But I think because he's come with a different plan, and I did notice that in the way he was batting, I think that's all in line with what he's planning. I mean, I think he's setting up his inning more than, just taking each ball on its merit, which is probably, I think he's setting up his inning, which is why, because he looked very assured, I think he's just setting up that base and then hoping for that kick to come once he's really accustomed to it. But yeah, I did feel at one point that, certain balls, because he was bowled the same way, same defense. I was like, 1 or 2, come on, try. This is where it's going to pitch, how much it's turning, because similar ball, go for one shot. But he did not. So I think he's come with that resolve to not make that one mistake also.
Yep. Amaya Jaikar says, anyone watched KS Bharat bat? Can he play those counter-attacking innings? Well, KS Bharat is an assured batter. He's solid.
But he's more on the traditional mode.
Yeah,
I would call him a counter-attacker at all.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, the difference for KS Bharat now will be I think the big difference is that, see, most wicketkeeper batsmen that you've got, they are like middle order, lower middle order, even for the domestic side, and so they come and play the same position for India. I think KS Bharat is a top order batsman, and he's now having to play a different role where he's batting so lower down the order. So I think that is slightly different in KS Bharat's case, and it might take him time to adapt. But whatever I saw of him in Nagpur, he does have the strokes. I mean, he's a confident sort of a batsman who has a stroke, so he can play aggressive counter-attacking as well. I saw those little strokes for him, just that his innings didn't go for a very long time, so you really can't pass a judgment or even understand, how long or which way he can play. But I did remember those few shots that he played, and I was like, wow, this guy's a stroke maker also. He's not someone who's just going to, just prod and just hang around. No, he can play some good aggressive strokes if he wants to. So he has that, because again, he's a top order batsman for his domestic side. So.
Indeed. Okay, Aditya Kavlekar, thank you so much. He loved my Marathi while reading Shaw's FIR. Well, Aditya, I do know Marathi. I've stayed in Mumbai for 22 years. So Marathi was my second language. So I do know. When we have an interaction.
मला पण येत मराठी. मला पण आहेत मराठी.
तुम्हाला पण येते ना, कारण तुम्ही पण राहिले पुणेमध्ये तरीच. Nikhil and I both know Marathi well.
To quote a very popular meme, I'm a head out, because I didn't understand a word that was just.
I said Nikhil also knows Marathi because he stayed in Pune for a long time.
Obviously.
Yeah, both me and Nikhil know Marathi. So Aditya, next time you come here, you'll feel as if you're in Mumbai, talking in Marathi with us, not in Delhi. Okay, Satyajit Shinde is like saying, do you think, can India bat whole day today?
Wow.
I think if this partnership can limit the damage that has happened, then yes, India can bat the whole day. But if this partnership goes, then I think it will be very difficult.
Yeah, then you think then Australia might just be batting come the final session of the day? quite likely.
Okay. But on evidence of it, okay, Nikhil, supposing we are just looking at a slightly longer picture. 3 to 4 day, if it's a 4-day test if it ends. But looking at the scoring rate, looking at the way how the pitch has behaved, Nagpur and Delhi, what would you have preferred?
Delhi, I think so. I would prefer a 4-day game compared to a 2.5 day sort of a game that we got in Nagpur.
Yeah.
2.5, right?
Yes,
That's
2.5,
yeah.
Yep. Indeed.
2.5. So yeah, 4-day game any day. Yeah? Because again, it's got something for the batsmen. It's also going to test their
Defense.
technique against spin, which is what you want based on home condition. All things put together, I mean, I prefer Delhi, but I'm going to wait for passing the entire judgment because we don't know how the pitch goes. Because what happens with Delhi is, as the game progresses, it gets slower and lower. And if it becomes like that towards the end, where it's like almost impossible to bat, then I don't know. So I'll reserve my comments till we see. But for now, what I've seen, I'd prefer a Delhi sort of a pitch any day.
Because as compared to the first day when it was slightly cloudier, today the sun is out in full.
Oh yeah, it's a warm day.
It's a warm day, and I think the pitch could crack up a lot more because you're seeing puffs of dust already.
You saw puffs of dust in the first ball of the day when Kunuman was bowling. So here's a funny one, by the way. Purushroth Mek pointing out that in Tamil commentary, Sridharan Sriram was pointing out that the Australian team actually got coached by an ICC panel of umpires, and they were given a class on, get this, how to take reviews. I think they should ask for a refund of those classes because they didn't really have that much of an effect.
Because they had an Indian umpire who was the best in that, Simon Toffel.
Simon Toffel, loved that, man.
Yeah.
Really, really good umpire.
Fantastic umpire. Okay, can you go down a bit, Anurag? Is there any more comments? I want Virat 2014.
Carry on.
No, I'm saying you guys can take comments. I'll take your leave.
Okay. See you, Nikhil, for the tea break.
Yes. Bye. Tea break. See you. Bye.
As a Gokul CM is saying, he watched the 2014 Adelaide second innings version. I mean, obviously, he was an absolute beast in that particular.
He was in that zone. He was peak Virat at that time when he couldn't be conquered. But again, the problem is, I don't think this particular situation demands a Virat-like innings from him in 2014 Adelaide. That is why. But yes, that knock will come. So Varun Parvatneni is like saying, 263, as I mentioned, is seen to be formidable score. Jaddu and Virat need to push the pressure back, including KS and Ashwin. This session is the best time to bat and get
Absolutely, because
Varun.
Considering how nice and sunny it looks outside, that pitch is going to start deteriorating further. So now is the key time to bat. Afterwards, it's going to become a little tough to bat over there. No two ways about it.
Arco Ray is like saying there's no way India is batting the whole day. Well, as I said, if the collapse happens, if the partnership is broken now, then it will be very, very difficult for India to bat the whole day.
Oh, it should be a fascinating battle. Look, King versus Goat.
King versus
Goat. Very good battle. And Lyon, I'm very, very impressed how well he's bowled today, because I think, as you were saying, I think he prefers the more even bounce here. It's a little firmer, unlike Nagpur. Nagpur, it was really
spongy.
It was very spongy bounce here. He's pitching it. See the kind of length he's getting it also. He's getting it the parts. Just about at the back of a good length kind of
the good length and full length, that in between area.
Exactly, that in between area where, by the way, the pitch is still not fully deteriorating. So he's able to hit these things, get some even bounce, and getting the ball, that angle also, by the way. This pitch seems to suit that angle of coming from around the wicket a lot more, because more often than not, the batsmen are trying to play leg and he's getting it to not turn as much but kind of stay straighter, less turn. That's also key. I think, I don't know, we don't have the metrics, but he's been generating a lot less turn this time around than he was in Nagpur, and he's being more effective.
But Lyon, he also has Virat's number. He's dismissed him a lot of times. So this battle, Nathan Lyon versus Virat Kohli, is going to determine how this session and this test match goes for India. We hope that Kohli can score big on his home ground. See, but even if he has scored 50, just exact 50 and gets out, I think he has silenced the detractors.
Yeah, because this is not an easy pitch to bat on. Okay, I'm not expecting a 150 from him on this pitch.
But if he gets a 150, then
if he gets a 150, then that's it.
that's it. We
No
are
more
going to prostrate whenever Virat Kohli bats for the rest of his playing career. Because
Oh, look, Jadeja on strike, and look who's warming up to bowl. It's Nathan Lyon
it's
himself.
Nathan Lyon,
Let's go.
absolutely. So this session is going to be crucial in the outcome of India's, how they approach this and how the test match panders. We'll be back for more updates from Sports Today. Tap that bell icon to know when we go live, and don't forget
Subscribe
your
also, and of course, like, share, leave us a comment. We love hearing from you guys. And
Yep.
also check out, we've done a few other things on the channel. If you haven't already, you're on the channel, check those out too. For now though, from Sid and me,
Yep.
Tata
And
bye
from-
bye.
And Sanket Joshi, hey guys, hello from Germany, but unfortunately bye from
Bye
Delhi,
from
Sanket.
Germany for now. Bye from India for now, Sanket. But don't forget to join us for the
tea session,
2
yes.
odd hours from now. Bye bye from Sid and me. Tata bye bye.
Vanakkam.
And vanakkam.